time bomb. And so the Civil War, you asked me what's going to happen.
Stay there. I want to get into that because the Justice Department admits they're stirring up race war. They admit it's about federalizing police. The summer hadn't even got here yet, and you've got, you know, riots every couple of weeks. They're about to kick off again in Cleveland. Roads are blocked right now. I mean, this is totally contrived. Where's it all going? With all the different technological developments that are happening with nanotech, GMO, the rest of it, it's only a matter of time until something gets out of hand. And when you just see the evil makeup of all this and how the end game is always not prosperity, but just hell on earth. And you can see decades of preparation by the controllers leading towards this point, and the boldness of the White House running false flags, giving weapons to Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and shipping guns into Mexico, and persecuting Christians with the IRS, and nobody gets in trouble. George Soros spent $33 million just in Ferguson trying to get stuff going. The Justice Department got caught doing it as well. Now they're out in the open stirring it up, taking tragedies and blowing them out of proportions. And these are tragedies, but the globalists are the big bad guys, and they have an end game. So, Civil War, Steve Quayle, stevequayle.com. What is the game plan? Why is the Justice Department doing this? Well, Al Sharpton said to federalize police, but what do you expect to see this summer if stuff is already so out of control?
Well, I expect to see ISIS, because I believe that terrorism is nothing more than someone's foreign policy initiating the plan. And again, Alex, when you did the MIAC report, people would not believe the fact that Christians would ever be considered terrorists. The FBI knows of 50-plus, and listen, there's probably 500-plus actually radical Islamic training camps, not one arrest, not one disarmament. And you've got to ask yourself the question, why do people knowingly turn a blind eye to that? Well, it's because you have the agenda. And the agenda, I'm afraid, it's already been declared when the entity basically made the statement, America is no longer a Christian nation. You know, and that's critical because...
Well, the entity also said that if we build a business, we didn't build it. I mean, they are trying to invert reality. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. They are inverting reality. And that's why I came up with a statement this morning, you know, the virtual reality is total mental enslavement and reality avoidance, okay? Virtual reality is total mental enslavement and reality avoidance. I'm going to come up with my own book of terms, and one of the terms is going to be reality avoidance syndrome. You know what, Alex? Your trouble, point blank, is you've got the ear of multi-millions and millions of people telling the truth. The people who are starting to come awake are seeing that the lies are no longer selling the agenda. Therefore, they've got to get rid of all recipients. Larry Graithwell, we talked about him. Bottom line is, when you've got the people that influence the entity talking about the fact that back in 72 that 30 million people had to die, take the population version and brings it up to 100 million. The thing that bothers me the most is the disconnect. I don't care what military spokesman says when he has to look to his civilian handler over the right and basically says, what do I say now? And he's not even familiar with the Jade Helm documents that he's basically telling everybody not to worry. I absolutely salute with my whole heart. I have so much respect and admiration for the people of Bastrop that didn't let it slide.
Absolutely, and it's the military that lets us know about all this. I mean, it's people on the inside that give us all the documents. That also makes the system mad. We'll be back, Steve, in 70 seconds, third hour. Focus in and pick his brain on where he sees the world going. Representative Louis Gohmert suggests feds using Jade Helm to provoke a fight with citizens. Congressman calls labeling of Texas and Utah as hostile states suspicious. He said that last week in a new article in a local newspaper that we linked to here in the story in Texas. He says that it appears to be an attempt to provoke a fight and to get a confrontation going. And I agree. How do you think we ought to handle Jade Helm and all the other exercises going on right now where we get the video and they're practicing going after patriots, conservatives, libertarians, veterans? What do we do when the military is given a mission that's so unconstitutional? We know the individual soldiers don't like what's happening, so they're not the problem. In fact, they're more awake than the public on average. But still, what do we do? Go out and educate them in public, expose it, shoot video, tell our cities not to do this. What do we do in your view, Steve?
Well, we're doing all that, Alex, so we're doing all we can do. 4 years ago, and I want to make this clear, I put up on my website and read it multiple times on the air. I believe it was a true word from the Lord that God said, I am against you, Pentagon, and your plans to make war against my people. We're seeing right now a two-star general. They're asking him to be court-martialed because he gave Jesus a glory at a commencement speech or something. I think the people have got to understand it's a spiritual battle. You touch on it, and I touch on it, but there are a lot of people who cannot equate their faith, in essence, who go to church on Sunday and can't understand that they've now been vilified. So, Alex, the truth is the only thing I know that can confront this. I would say this, that the provocations will become more and more pronounced, okay? And so, again, the idea is that information...
So they're trying to push us into conflict.
Absolutely, absolutely. You said it earlier, and I want to make it clear, too, that these individuals want a civil war. They're going to push it. If you notice something interesting about the last riot, the Crips and the Bloods came together along with the Nation of Islam, and they were peaceful. But again, when I say relatively peaceful, but when you don't know who's on the police force, this is where I think it should be know your cop. I have some amazing people just like you do that are in law enforcement that send you absolute state-of-the-art information. But I've warned them all, and this is what I'll warn everybody who's in law enforcement that listens to your show today. This is critical, Alex, life and death. Beware of observers assigned to your vehicle. Beware of observers assigned to your department. Beware of just recent guys that you know for a fact haven't been out of the military so long that are coming in, and notice their demeanor. Street smarts are what saves a cop's lives. Street smarts now can be identified, if you will, to the information.
Absolutely, because when they drop the hammer, they've got everybody actuaried and profiled. They're going to have a night of the long knives where they go after a lot of the people in the government.
Absolutely. And here's the deal. If you're not a politically correct cop, then you've already been targeted for elimination. When the man it cost him his life, let me one more time run this down, Alex, real quick.
Do it when we come back. You're going to have the floor when we come back. Because okay, I know the story, it's powerful, and it's just crazy.
Here's the deal. We've got to educate them. That's what we're doing. But we also need the people out there that have listened to you, listen to me, for all...
They're going to have to get aggressive. Exactly. It's time for everybody to be a leader, everybody to be heard and seen. They can't get us all. The maximum pushes right now. The globalists are not invincible. We're going to come back, though, and talk about your friend and more, and take phone calls and hit a bunch of other news. The economy, the election, it's all coming up. I like to go see movies with my friends. I like to go play pool and drink beer. I like to have a good time. I'm not looking for trouble. I don't have some death wish or power wish. I have looked at the documentation for 25 years, 23, 24 years, been on air 20. And I saw it for totalitarianism that it was. The globalists bragging about a corporate world government. But if we were just going under a corporate world government and it would just be new owners, and they wanted to keep taxes low because that actually creates more revenue and they wanted to skim off the top, I would be a talk show host against it, and I'd try to reform it, but I wouldn't be every day getting myself right with Jesus, every day just not even able to believe what's happening, because I can't go shoot clay pigeons or go play golf or go fishing because I'm physically sick the whole time, because I know that the globalists are doing what they're doing. And I just can't avoid reality like Steve Quayle was talking about. That's our problem. And I get people that just want to go to a baseball game or a football game or want to go bowling. I mean, if we weren't in such dire straits, I'd be picking my kids up 2 or 3 nights a week. We wouldn't be going home and doing homework. We'd be going to the bowling alley like we did when I was a kid. We'd be going camping. We'd be playing tennis. But instead, I don't know when the big hammer's coming down, but the economy's degenerating. The government's running around like all hands on deck, gearing up. All the manuals we get, nothing about radical Islam, everything about veterans and gun owners. And none of that is going to fly, and Christians, unless they're planning atrocities to be blamed on us. And man, when Al Jazeera was here with American reporters, or when BBC is here, or when ABC is here, they look at me like they hate me and like I had done something to their kids. I mean, they have really conditioned the public on the enemy side to hate us. And all we want is them to have freedom and prosperity and a future and Americana. Prosperity. I mean, we're good people. We're just mainline Americans. I instinctively and spiritually cannot bow down and be a slave. I instinctively cannot just give in to all this. And we've had a huge effect. But I'll tell you, it's frustrating. And I'm glad to have done what I've done. We're going back to Steve Quayle in a moment. I am proud of the fact I've been honorable. I can't help it. It's in my bones. I also don't feel worthy at many levels because I'm not perfect. And a incredible task of this magnitude. I mean, do you understand this radio show is the #1 worldwide media event in the face of the globalists? Steve Quayle has millions of viewers and listeners as well. I know he's probably glad. I may have a little bit more because it's so dangerous. This isn't fun. I mean, I want people to understand. This isn't fun, okay? I don't go out in public and get awards. I don't want to be famous. I didn't want them to take our guns in Texas like they were trying in 1994. And I learned about the UN model system and all the rest of it. I thought other people would care and want to do something. And you know what? You have cared. You have done something. And they know you're getting active. So I'm telling you, we're approaching a key event. And when I talk about myself here, it's so you as a new listener or viewer can understand this isn't a game. And it's the sincerity we have and the truth we have and the documentation we have. I mean, Steve Quayle is so upset when he's speaking that you can hear him just almost unable to talk, and I know that feeling. So I've just got to go 100 miles an hour to get past the emotion so I can just get it out, because there's nothing more frustrating than spending years reading this stuff and reading the books, hundreds of them, written by them, how they put fluoride in the water to dumb us down, how they put chemicals in the vaccines to brain damage our kids, to know they're coming with forced inoculations. It's here. They're coming with everything. They're coming. They're already here. And to see most of the servants of these people aren't even bad. They're compartmentalized. They want to go bowling. They want to go play golf. They want to go shooting. They want to go out with their girlfriend or fiance. They want to go see a baseball game. And so do I, man. And so they look at me and they say, you must be lying, because if that was true, I'd have to do something. Well, it is true. And what's happening is we're rapidly approaching the point of no return, where everybody has to admit that evil took over, and it's about to get a lot worse. So people are finally waking up, and that's why the globalists are coming in with internet kill switches and censorship, and the founding fathers wouldn't be welcome in the military, blah, 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 because they're about to make things so bad, they've got to normalize stuff and hide it in plain view. The toll-free number to ask questions of Steve Quayle is 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. First-time callers, please. 800-259-9231. I will skip this network break to give Steve more time. We'll go to calls. We have a brief pro-life announcement at the bottom of the hour. Jakari is in Cleveland covering what's coming up tonight, but he was going to lead a pro-life event Thursday at the main Planned Parenthood Mother Death Camp ship, the SS Ku Klux Klan Command Center, literally, the proto-Hitler facility up the road on Ben White at noon. And we're going to hold up Black Lives Matter with the history of the genocide against black people, but everybody for that matter. And so we're going to be announcing that at the bottom of the hour. We're skipping this network break, but we're just doing the best we can in the face of this evil and the 17 million murdered black people.